As time moved on, so did our taste in music and in patriotic things. You're a Grand Old Flag was written by George M. Cohan and is a very spirited march that is a tribute to the United States flag. It was written in 1906 for the Cohan stage musical George Washington Jr. According to Mr. Cohan, the words to this song came to him when he met a Civil War veteran who had fought at Gettysburg. The vet held a very carefully folded but very ragged old flag. And when he showed it to Cohan, he said to him, "She's a grand old rag." Cohan loved that line and actually wrote the song that way. But so many groups and individuals objected to the American flag being called a rag that he, quote, gave them what they wanted, and in his words, renamed it "You're a Grand Old Flag." It became obvious to the people of the United States that war was inevitable again. As we entered the First World War, and as it came to an end too, musician and songwriter Irving Berlin wrote the song that would become our symbol of strength for many years after. That song was "God Bless America." Berlin wrote the song in 1918 at the end of World War I. But he revised it in 1938, just as we were becoming involved in the Second World War. The revised version is the one that we all know that was sung by Kate Smith and that became her signature song. In that year, the song was introduced on Armistice Day, or as we know as Veterans Day, and introduced as a peace song. Berlin was Jewish, and the movement of Hitler was beginning to be seen and noticed throughout the world. The original recording of Kate Smith, by the way, can be seen, singing "God Bless America," can be seen on YouTube today. But we have another great singer here, and I know you will all agree with me that Martha is going to do a beautiful job singing "God Bless America."
God bless America, my home.
September 11th attacks, members of our United States Congress broke out into an apparently spontaneous verse of God Bless America on the steps of the Capitol building in Washington. I know that I remember that, and probably a lot of you do too. Just one example of how much we love this song and how important it is to us. Well, as we continue to think about the difficult times of World War II, there's another song that was written by Irving Berlin that helped us through battle. That song also just happens to be a Christmas song. It's White Christmas. Although this famous Christmas song is certainly not considered patriotic, did you know that the song was written in 1940, just as we were becoming involved in World War II? And the first public performance of White Christmas was sung by Bing Crosby on his NBC radio show, The Kraft Music Hall, on Christmas Day, 1941, just weeks after the Pearl Harbor attack. This first recording has been lost, but Bing recorded the song again in May of 1942, and that's the one that you still hear today. It actually took a while for the song to catch on, believe it or not, and Bing once said that, quote, "A jackdaw with a cleft palate could have sung it successfully." But he was known more for this song than any other in his career. His single, by the way, has been credited with selling over 50 million, the highest number of single releases for a song. And in the Songs of the Century list, White Christmas is number 2, only to Judy Garland's Over the Rainbow. And by the way, did you know that White Christmas was also broadcast on April the 30th of 1975 over radio as a secret, prearranged signal for the evacuation of Saigon in the Vietnam War? White Christmas did catch on back in 1941, of course, and it remained as a favorite of servicemen for the remainder of World War II. The Armed Forces Network was flooded with requests for the song, even when it was not Christmas. But because it is the Christmas season now, and especially because we love its patriotic connection, I know you want to hear it. It's hard to imagine, isn't it, that any more great songs could be written or sung. But just as time does not stop, neither does our love of music, all different kinds. Country musician Lee Greenwood wrote the words and music to God Bless the USA in 1984. And it was exactly what this country needed at that time. It was immediately chosen to be performed at the 1984 Republican National Convention, in which Ronald Reagan was nominated, but gained even greater popularity during the Gulf War as a great morale booster for all the troops. The song has emerged as an equally great morale booster for our entire country during several recent difficult times, including the attacks of September the 11th and the 2003 invasion of Iraq. God Bless the USA recently rose up in popularity when Osama bin Laden was killed by Navy SEALs in Pakistan. Greenwood said about his song, quote, "I wanted to write it my whole life. We were doing 300 days a year on the road, and we were on our 4th or 5th album. I called my producer, and I said, I need to do this. I've always wanted to write a song about America. We just need to be more united." And how ironic that it all began with a British song. And now we sing our songs to honor that which we state in our DAR motto, for God, home, and country. Thank y'all, and thank you, Martha and Diane.